Welcome to The Vault with Financielle. This is a safe space where we talk all things life and money and no topics are off limits. Good morning.
Hello.
I've not got tea in hand actually. I should have had it in hand.
Comfort blanket.
Yeah.
I've got it now.
Warm comfort blanket.
How are we all doing?
It's a good colour.
We're good. We're definitely loving January so far. January's a time for organising. I think decluttering.
Manic.
I don't know about you, but we're declutter mode. I drove past Laura's house the other day in her car. You couldn't get in it because it was full. I'm assuming that's a charity shop drop.
Yeah. No, it's gone now. Don't worry. But it was the So my husband knows he has to catch me in the right mood and like headspace because I just go no. And so it started the week we took the decorations down at the beginning of the month, and that was a really good time to do it when no one's got any other like plans or activities or stuff. So we started there, and because the kids were distracted with new things, I went upstairs and I was in the rooms. And I think actually I'm in a better place for it this year. Last year I struck my middle child will not give things up at all. Even if you talk about like giving and you get new things, I found some straws from Portugal in the summer that were paper. They weren't even like a nice straw, but she just doesn't like you throwing anything away. So you have to be really, really careful about how you navigate it. But I also held a lot of like toddlery stuff back of hers just in case the little man wants it. Well, he's just one on his own. He's an absolute nutter and doesn't like cuddly toys ever. He's got a Maggie from Steve and Maggie, which is a YouTube awful program.
It's annoying magpie.
It's a magpie. So he has that, and he's got a Mickey Mouse from the Olympics. Nothing else. He'll launch it at your head if you give him a teddy. So we downsize things like teddies, and then bedding that he will just not need or want. And so suddenly we're on a roll, and that was just an example of one room. I then went for my eldest. Someone was like, right, come on, let's like go through your drawers because you can't find things in our drawers. We do like to keep things, but you just don't know when you're going to need it. But I was so motivated early in January. So many people on Instagram and TikTok saying, it's a clear out, that it's looking amazing. And in fact, only one of the things I cleared out, I've got these lovely open shelves in my kitchen. And they were just getting cluttered with books. I noticed
that you'd tidied it all.
That I wasn't reading the books, and I kind of had read them and thought, right, this is and there was like loads and loads of trophies, like rugby trophies. I was like, this wasn't the aesthetic I was going for, really. And like a bit of a dumping shelf. So I put a load of Christmas stuff on it and cleared everything out. And one of the books was How to Dress Like a Parisian. And funnily enough, the front cover looks like you today. Do you know who, and also another book next to it, and you're a bit of a combination of the two, it was Alexa Chung. Do you remember that book?
Alexa Chung.
I don't think I donated that.
It
might have gone.
Oh,
but it was a combination of the
Parisian
Parisian one. So you've got your nice jeans and your stripe and your haircut.
Thanks for noticing. I said it like a sailor, but I'll take French.
You've got a bobble on your wrist as well.
I've always got a bobble on my wrist.
Really?
If I've not got a bobble on my wrist, if I wake up, I'm lucky I've got a hand
I can't remember the
left.
last time I used one of those bobbles.
Why?
Because it protects your hair.
Because they ruin your hair, don't they?
And these like other fabric bobbles.
Yes. I was looking at Anthropology the other day, and there was like a knitted hair bobble, and I was like, I would buy that for Lucy.
Tell them why you were looked at Anthropology. I know why.
Oh, I was just checking to see if my Christmas present that I got a few months ago had gone down in sale. I actually was looking to see if they had it in silver, weirdly enough, because I love it so much. I was like, a bubble
You haven't got it on?
Oh, yeah.
No, I've not got it on. Because it's not silver.
Okay.
So I was looking for silver because I've worn it a couple of times. I really like that, and I never do that thing where you buy it in a different colour, and you definitely should. I am very much pro that. So I looked for it, but it didn't. But it was in the sale, which was a bit annoying. But
talking about buying things, actually, I keep seeing people that started at the start of the year Project Pan.
Yes, I'm going to do it. I've decided I might even film it. I'm going to do it.
I don't know what this is.
Project Peter Pan.
I watched Hook.
Basically, it's where you stop buying things. So skincare is like the best example, I think. And it's where you actually just use everything that you've got.
Yeah.
If you like it or not.
Yes, you just get to the bottom of the bottle or the jar or whatever.
Yeah, and it's a combination of if you're just not going to ever use that blush because it was just not a good colour, you get rid of it. Yeah. You either, hopefully not bin it, hopefully you can give it to someone. I'm not sure on the hygiene of sharing some things, obviously, like not double
scrape the top off.
but it is that. And so what people were doing, when you search it on TikTok, you'll find it, but realising how many hand creams they have, realising how many like toners and how many like foundations. And then I think I've been mum's Project Pan for a while. Any foundation she doesn't like, just give to me. And I'm like, I'm Picasso. I can just I'll get the colour. But I recently sorted my skincare out into, okay, that's like for this, that's for that, that's for that. Hair stuff, like I thought things were face masks and they're actually hair masks. And so if it's in the hair one, I'll know to go for it. And I actually, when I was doing it, this was when I did my tidy up actually, but I've not actually put project planning into place. I was finding shampoos and stuff, and I've been buying shampoos on the shop.
Yeah.
And so I hopefully...
And shower gels and stuff you buy. You find like presents that people got. You do like gift sets.
Yeah.
And they're all in the back of the cupboard.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's getting stuff out.
New
So
shower
moving
gel.
them to the bathroom, and then when you reach for a shampoo, you use up. In fact, it's even better to put the little ones first because you're easier to get rid of them. So are you going to do it?
How have you been doing it?
I literally got so much skincare for Christmas as well.
Oh, really?
So I've probably got like 2 years worth of skincare, I think.
Amazing, because it's expensive.
Is it gonna be
I
more
hate buying
skincare?
makeup, I hate buying skincare.
Okay.
So I think I could definitely go minimum this year without buying skincare.
Imagine how, like, for me, it's the not a lot in the drawer, like easily looking and going, that's my skincare and that's all I use. But when you don't want to get rid of stuff that in the past, so you just keep it. So then like you're hunting around for things. Like we need to make our lives simple, like if you're busy. And it can feel overwhelming, more stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about how much, God, I know it's been a little while now, but when we took the decorations down, I was like,
Yeah.
it's fresh.
Yeah, you feel like you've
Space.
got a new
I
house.
can dance.
But there's
New
rules.
routine.
There's rules when you're doing organising, isn't there? Where you have to have like an exit strategy. That was the biggest thing that people don't do.
So you
So
don't
they
have
keep
piles.
the bag of the charity
okay.
stuff and they just move it from one room to another,
Like
or
a
like
vintage
it's in
bag.
the cart. Yeah. You have to have, if you're going to do it, you have to have an exit strategy.
Yeah.
I was
So
going
you
straight
have
in
to
the
have like
car.
a bag for the tip, and you have to take it that day. You have to commit bag for the charity shop and bag for like
I've been
friends. and
driving around
family.
with a tip bag in my car.
Yeah.
for months.
You're not the only one. I feel like that's just completely normal.
What's all that rattling? It's like, oh, don't think about that.
I do a thing now whereby, because we hand stuff to Ali, if it's in good condition, Laura's youngest, I'll wash it sometimes. I'll tell you if I haven't, but the last few things I've washed, and I'll hand it straight over. Like the other day, there was a dressing gown.
Yeah, I've got like an
and
age 4 dressing gown. I'm like, it's
there you
too.
go.
But thank you.
It'll fit him.
It's in the wardrobe already.
Yeah. Like done. That's you've got it, because otherwise it'll be sat in my room for 6 years, and then by the time I go to give it you, it'll have grown out of it.
Yeah.
You know, like exit strategy.
It is a good time. Like I said, I hope for everyone listening,
January's a
like
good time.
you've found that moment where you can do a clear out, a reset, and find the stuff that you want to use and lean into this year, and stuff that just Marie Kondo doesn't bring you joy. Don't feel bad about. And like there's this balance actually between vintage and charity shop, because you don't want the vintage bag sat there, but actually if you're on a debt-free journey or you've got a savings goal, you like selling stuff is a really good way of bringing extra income in. And I think for a long time, I'm going to confess, I've been really cushy. We've got a budget that serves us. We're hitting some moderate goals. We haven't set stretch goals, which we have done this year. And the only way at the moment in our lives we can bring in extra money would be through maybe reselling. And so I've got some like beautiful fancy dress, like really expensive fancy dress that we got that from Disney, which was absolute fortune. And I was like thinking of people in our life that we can kind of give it to, and some of the people already probably have them as well anyway.
The same age. It's not
And
like
my
the
Auntie Ruth
younger.
was like, sell them. And I was like,
That's my
actually,
hack.
switch that back on.
Halloween, anything that I have to do fancy dress for with the kids, I will actually get on Vinted, because I hate the thought of buying a new fancy dress item, because I know that they're only worn a couple of times. When you think about everything going to landfill, like it really does stress me out. So
move it all
fancy
around.
dress, I will always buy from Vinted.
I'll let you know, like I don't want to, the downside of Vinted is the time it takes, or it's sitting in the corner, and actually you could have just donated it.
Yeah. There's a balance. I think if it's on there for a couple of months and you've had no hits, and just take it
then
off,
get rid.
let it go.
Well, I'll let you know.
I think that's a good idea. I think I've had a bag of stuff going on Vinted a good 6 months.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, I should just take that to the charity shop. But
it's hard to know if they'll get anything for it, because people are so
if I probably
cutthroat on
literally
Vinted.
added
Like,
up what
sell
I've
this for
listed
£2?
everything
Do you know a
for,
good
probably
little,
about
that's a money,
£15.
we talk about our money minutes though. That's a money minute tip would be sit down with a cup of tea and get the bag and search on Vinted. And for every item, if you have to be really meaningful for you, if it needs to be worth your time.
Yeah.
So have a look, and if it starts to add up to a good amount, or ditch the things that are just not selling or that are for cheap, and then you might end up halving your workload for Vinted, but you get a bigger return for your time. And you've done that, and you might get to the end of it and go, I'm actually not selling any of it, I'm going to just donate it, and then that decision's made. But the decision is like the forever to-do list, isn't it? It's sat there in the corner of that bag.
The mental admin.
Oh, well, good luck.
Sometimes the money's not worth it. I'm just going to put it out there.
No.
For the mental admin of how much you'll
and
get
then
back.
also having to
you're
go to the post office and get bullied
yeah,
in the
so
post
gauging.
office.
How much do you think I could possibly, not the 50 quid, 60 quid.
Yeah.
We all know that's not going to happen probably.
I've loved Vinted for like if you're on maternity leave or if you are a homemaker and you don't work and you kind of look after the kids and there's elements of time where you can pop and do little errands, that amount of money can stack up. But if you are working full time, dealing with like your hobbies, dealing with this, that and the other, and then suddenly you're like, oh, I need to post that Vinted parcel for £4, I just think it's, and
It's got a pile of golf stuff to go, and I'm like, does anyone look for golf stuff on Vinted? It might be like a lucrative thing, but there's like literally a bag of really nice golf things that you just...
You should just put things on as like bundles.
That's what I was like, if you're going to upload that, do not do one thing at a time. Just literally put a bundle on for like 30 quid because there's loads of really good stuff in there.
I've got rid of loads of stuff on Olio, the app. It's just free.
Oh, really?
Like, and people just collect it from your house.
Yes.
So there's literally like, you take a photo of it and then
And
it's
food.
we don't use that, but we notice
yeah.
Before you go on holiday, if you've got a fridge full,
like a flavour of crisps you're not about, then you can just put it on there.
Yeah, don't
people
throw it
collect
away.
anything.
Yeah.
Like
That's so cool.
Before you go on
Half a bottle of
holiday, I'm
shampoo.
always like offering food out to our family. We always go together, so that's not helpful. But like my auntie sometimes, I'm like, oh, I've got like red onions, peppers,
Yeah.
gherkins. I'll never give them
I
up.
love getting
Do you know what I mean? And
I
I'll be
love
like,
getting
do you
that
want
dropped
these?
off from Mum or Ruth. When it's like,
You don't want to throw it away. Why would you do that?
Why don't we think that? Because we use the local Facebook groups, but that's limited to the people in the group, whereas Olio is a platform of, okay, right, we'll look into this more. I think that's really helpful, actually, Lydia, and I'd forgotten about that it's wider than food. I think I was seeing it more as like food.
Things. Can you just tell everyone what you've got for your lunch today, if you're being savvy with your fridge?
I'm doing a project pan with my food because I'm a big food waster.
I'm hoping it's not from years ago.
Yeah, these sausages are actually 2016. For my lunch today, I have 3 chipolatas, like half a sweet potato cubed, and I also left it in the oven for too long yesterday, burnt it, and then I've got 3 slices of gherkins.
And it's all mixed together and touching.
It's touching.
cold?
The cold gherkins are touching what will soon be warm, and I think
Yeah, and I'm going to have to hold the gherkins whilst
Yeah.
I hopefully can microwave.
jeez.
So yeah,
I'm all right.
there's a lot
Things
of
could
rogue.
touch, not judging.
I didn't mind
am
things being
judging.
touched. I literally just
She was going.
everything
What
up
she
like
didn't
a
tell you is
child.
she was going to put cottage cheese in it as well.
That I wouldn't. That's too far, Lucy.
I love cottage cheese. Okay, I've got a controversial opinion for us today. The 50-30-20 budgeting rule is bullshit.
I might get cancelled for that one, Lucy.
Yeah.
That is a big
People love it.
in the budgeting world.
Yeah.
50-30-20 is like probably the most popular
Method. Yeah.
It is, but it's so simple. So you make sure you
Yeah,
can
it's a
understand why people like it.
gateway.
It's a good.
I think.
It's a good gateway into budgeting. So that 50-30-20 is where you allocate your income 50% to needs, 30% to wants, and then 20% to it's a saving. And now actually, what people think that's also possibly saving, investing. It could be paying down debt. It's that extra bit is for that, and it's a really good mental prompt to be like, you have your needs, your basic needs to like survive. You should buy things that you want sometimes. And this, we're meant to like enjoy ourselves, and it's not all meant to be absolutely scorched. Don't buy anything and frugal. And then this reminder that 20%, which is obviously only a fifth of your expenses, should be of your income should be going to things for you, for your future self. So I like it.
It is bullshit though.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it? It is.
I think if you just want to
No, we do
coast
agree.
by
Yeah, but like
and like not,
It's just so not
I
personalised,
would like
is
to
it? It's
use
like
it
out of touch.
for calories, like you and I should if we want to lose weight and you go on like, I don't know, like a MyFitnessPal or whatever it might be, our weights are different. So therefore our calories are different. Like
Our hormones are different.
yeah, everything is different.
Our exercise is
could
different.
50-30-20. Imagine living in central London or then living in Whitehaven.
Shout out to the Whitehaven producer.
Calvin's from Whitehaven, we were talking about earlier. But that 50% of living costs, you can't compare that to London. In London, you might be looking at more of like a 60 or 70,
Massive,
depending on your income that you've got coming in versus your outgoings, because rent is so ridiculously high compared to somewhere else in the north of England. Like it's also not a blanket rule.
Single or in a couple.
Yeah, it doesn't work. I genuinely don't see how it works. People are so passionate about it. If Lucy dares do a TikTok on why the 30-20 rule needs to be like re-looked at or whatever, it's like death to the budgeting app Financielle. Like people just love the 50-30-20, and like you say, it might be because it's a good gateway. It's got someone in, they've never been able to budget before, and that easy breaking it down has allowed them to budget to some sort of level, but it's just not personalised at all, and we're all rigid. So different.
This helps bring out, though, when you do a budget in the Financielle app, you get your donut, which we've talked about before, and your donut is your expenses kind of split out, and it's not split out needs, wants, and future self. It's split into fixed expenses, flexible expenses, sinking funds, and then your excess.
We don't determine the percentage. You do based on what, first of all, you start with, and then you can improve month on month and squeeze different areas of the budget. Because 1 month, what if about 1 month you've got 3 kids and it's all their birthdays in that month? That 50-30-20 is the percentage changes, like whether you like it or not.
I think that's why we really like the excess. So the excess is green on the donut, and basically, I like the purple sinking fund and the green is excess. And what that tells you, if that's a really good part of your budget, it means that you are definitely saving, investing, or paying down debt, which is your future self stuff, and that's your financial well-being stuff. But we're not going to determine what that percentage should be. They'll get asked it all the time. I think aiming for 5% of your income, then 10%, and then getting up to 20%, and then even beyond that, wonderful. But it's all relative, as you said, it's personal. But I like purple because purple is telling me that people are saving for things coming up. That purple as a part of your budget is paying for things in the next year that you're not going to put on credit and that you've planned for. And it might be an indulgence as well. It might be a uber big travel fund, or it might be a clothes fund because we're going to have a brand new wardrobe, or it's a home or car repair fund. And but they're all different.
Our biggest question into community, I think, over the last few months has been around sinking funds.
Has it?
Everyone is so curious about how much, what ones do you have? I saw a post the other day that was like, can everyone list the sinking funds out? And I was like,
someone had
God
22.
Help me. Oh, I think I have a lot of sinking. If I counted mine up, it'd be near enough.
I'm annoyed at the moment with Starling because that's where I keep my pots, and they've pulled the interest on
Neil's
the
like, I need to find someone.
I was literally going to move because of that.
Yeah. Well, I think I might. It's on the list of dreams of things to do. But we were doing our net worth, and it was a really healthy check to look at. I think I've shared before. Like we have the trading 212 cash ISA at the moment. It's one of the best ones on there. So that's what my husband and I choose to have. But I'm not. My other ones are not paying enough interest. Barclays pulled their really good rate, so I'm going to close that account and move stuff elsewhere. Starling, I had a really good fixed saver that's just matured, which is really good. It's like a bonus. I don't know if you've ever done a fixed saver.
Ours is about to.
Mine's just like 250 quid dropped in because it builds up all year, but you don't have access to it. Okay. So instead of getting interest bit by bit, you lock it so you don't get access to the money, but the bank rewards you with that, with like a higher percentage. So now it's a good time to sit and go, how is everything performing? I'm sat there going, our sinking funds are good.
The cash is sat there, it's frustrating.
And it used to be okay. I think it was around 3-ish%. I can't remember what it used to pay. It wasn't as high as the savers, but it was good, and now it's not. So banks are not like football teams, you can switch them.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a look at, because Monzo did the same, so they're not great either. I'll have a look at Chase.
Chase is the only other one that I can think of that's got the space. I have actually started just putting
everything, because I have like my emergency fund just in my Monzo, like instant access saver. I think it was good.
It was good. It's come
and now
down
it's
now.
just like it's not the best. But I kept getting interest on that every month, and I was like, why is the rest of my money not sat in there?
Yeah,
and I can literally see it right above it.
Yeah.
So I just moved everything in there and then organise it in the Financielle app.
In the app, because we've got the sinking fund tracker now.
So you don't necessarily need. I think it's just
it doesn't need to be separated out.
No, it doesn't. I think it's just. I like personalising them all and seeing them and seeing how much is left in them and all that kind of stuff. So, but now we've got the sinking funds tracker in the app.
For chunkier, so if you imagine like travel or car maintenance, something that's a bigger one.
That you're not going to dip in and out of. It might be a couple of times a year that you do it.
Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. But I think
like reminder for us all.
I think having a look at that donut and sharing and chatting, there's nothing wrong with trying to get to these goals of like 20% for your future self, but needs and wants is a very personal thing. You live in a situation, your location, your relationship, and more importantly, where you're at in your money journey.
So I'd say if you feel really financially well, that
should have higher
20%
wants.
might be, same for your future self. You might go, right, I've got everything organised. I'm totally in order. I feel financially well. I'm going to ramp up my investments. So then you go, well, I have to stick to 50, 30, 20, so I'll just keep it at that.
Yeah, but then for other people who are in an aggressive debt payoff, I want you to have less wants.
Absolutely.
There's got to be a time in your life where you're pulling back.
Yeah. We've all been there in that difficult period where you're like, I really want it, but I'm not going to because I want to be debt free.
It's a great starting point, but it's don't feel pressured to hit.
Yeah, but it could be just asking to fail.
Yeah.
If it's just so unrealistic for you, then.
And it is because it's not personalised.
No.
We're not talking 52%, 35, and then the next month it's different. It's like 50, 30, 20. People are very passionate about it though. It does make me laugh. I do like to drop a little. See people bite on TikTok to Lucy. I love writing back to some of the comments sometimes.
On your anonymous account.
Holly.
I would never. Yeah.
Okay, time for our first dilemma. Do we have to downsize after our children have moved out? We're a retired couple in our late 60s, and we've been living in our family home for over 30 years now. It's a big, beautiful house that holds so many memories of raising our children, celebrating milestones, and hosting holidays. Now that our children have grown up and moved out, it's just the two of us here most of the time. They do come back for regular visits, especially for Christmas and summer holidays, and it's lovely to have the space for them. But in the day-to-day, the house feels a little bit too big and a bit empty. We find ourselves wondering if it's time to downsize and move into something more manageable. Financially, we don't need to sell the house, but it feels like a lot to maintain just for the two of us. On the other hand, we worry about losing the space when family come to visit or when grandkids come along in the future. Should we hold on to the family home for sentimental reasons and occasional use, or would it make more sense to move somewhere smaller and free up some equity? We're feeling torn and would love some help.
So firstly, what house are you picturing, guys? Like, I'm picturing like a big house.
River at the bottom of the garden.
I think I'm Home Alone house.
Orange
I don't know why.
tree.
I was like this like, big, what did you picture, Lydia? What the kind of bougie house, big house, farmhouse?
Well, it says big, beautiful house. I'm thinking, I don't know. Yeah, the Home
Horses.
Alone house. Yeah.
She doesn't mention horses. I get to know.
They've got alpacas in the back.
I romanticize that house the way she described it.
Yeah, like I totally get this dilemma, and I feel like I fully understand why they would be feeling this way and torn about the decision. But there's no reason why you can't still create memories in a new home and host people. Yes, it might be a bit more squished than it was in your other house, but to free up some of that equity, you might be able to go on more holidays, travel more. Like, you are getting older, whether you like it or not. We all are. Like, that house might become impractical when it's a bit too late and the situation's a bit more stressful. Someone could get ill, someone could fall. Like, there'd be loads of things where you're then going to have to make a rush choice.
Now they're so young.
Yeah, they've still got loads of time left. So do something while you've got the capacity to do so, and it's not in a rush.
It's definitely a really good question. We've talked about this quite a lot on BBC Morning Live before, like with the audience typically is a retired audience, and we've talked about awful things like equity release mortgage and how difficult that is to navigate unless you've got the proper advice and you fully understand what your options are. And so often an option that people don't consider, and this is when you need money, it is downsizing, and it's because you're torn. And so I think there might be some people listening to this outside of our dilemma, our person that's written the dilemma in, that might have this in their life or their parents' life for financial reasons. And so there are different variations. There's the if you are struggling financially, and things are a bit tough and it's hard to maintain, and these beautiful big houses just take so much money.
Yeah.
There's definitely a wonderful path that is the downsize to the bungalow or apartment. Like, part of me is like jealous of my old apartment life where it's like 2-3 rooms.
Like, do you know, like I envisage buying a really amazing home still. Just because it's smaller doesn't mean like you're going to sacrifice style or substance
and you can still have like
I'm thinking cottage
or like an epic living area where if it's important to host people, you don't need lots of bedrooms, but you need a really good open plan thing that the Christmases can still be with you and events can still be with you.
You still have a beautiful home that's small.
Yeah.
Arguably, that I would prefer that. Like, my bigger house means more to clean and tidy.
Well, that was the thing I was thinking though. Like, what it sounds like it's understanding why you want to keep the thing, and so just think about the memories, and because they seem financially sound, I'm with you. You would only really want to move to something epic, but smaller, because you don't want to regret that decision, because it sounds like they may have money to be able to get gardening help, cleaning help, a little bit of a housekeeper once in a while,
But it's not that, is it? It sounds like it's just too big for them now, and they're holding on to it for reasons that aren't their own, though.
No, I think she still sounds like she likes it. Yeah. She's not.
But I always say, why write the dilemma in then? You're like, she definitely doesn't.
I guess it's like the natural thing to do, though, isn't it? Like, everyone's moved out. It's your family home. It's like, okay, is it the norm to
it
now
should
downsize?
But I don't think she's feeling negative about the house when the way she'd written the dilemma in. Because I don't want to give someone permission to stay. I think this is
I'm not. Go.
This is a money conversation. We answer things with a money edge.
Yeah, she doesn't need.
She doesn't need the money.
Financial, no.
But which therefore, Alex, I'm with you. I think if you're going to move, don't feel like you should.
No,
because it's this time of life, like you're still so young, or because it's you're rattling around in this big old house. Because when you have people there, you're happy. You will not be in a great place if you move to somewhere not as nice. Then you go, so either make it epic and the next new adventure that ticks the boxes for the entertaining and the family stuff, and let another family have the house. Like, that's a nice thing as well. Like, letting someone else make memories.
Like releasing some of the equity. Like, it might mean that then you go, we're going to book like an Airbnb for all the family for a summer holiday, like, so we can host every. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you've
got options, if you've got money, definitely.
It's not like that doesn't have to start. That hosting and the kids come in and all that kind of stuff doesn't have to start. And I wouldn't want her to hold on to that house for that reason alone. Yeah. Because if 90% of the year you're rattling around the house and it's like costing a lot of money and it's maintenance and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is funny though. Like, you can't sit waiting for people to arrive, and that's why you have the house. Like, the house is for you and your needs.
Life.
And you can still have like, oh God, some of the best Christmases we ever had was at my nana's house, which was a 2.5 bed tiny thing, terrace in Wigan. You can make spaces work for you. And also like this new project and adventure, because you're still so young that, like you said, Hall, doing it a bit late is then
might be a rush job, and
and needs driven.
You get in a house that you don't truly love. Like, it might take you 2 years to find your dream house.
Yeah, that's true.
You can have the power of choice. Whereas if something, for God forbid, happens, your arms tied behind your back, and you might go, we'll just get the bungalow then because we've got all these. We have to pick.
You can understand why families struggle with it.
Yeah,
it's definitely like, I like giving people permission to leave the house behind. The pressure isn't on you, and don't let any children that you have be like, oh, you can't sell the house, that's our family home.
See on films.
Off, you're over there.
Right, Dad, you're not moving.
Why Dad in particular? What's his house like?
That's just where I grew up.
That was
that's the family home.
Yeah.
Sentiment.
We just put this on Lucy. Go on then. So
I'd be like, no. Just leave it to us.
How often did you go?
Like 3-4 times a year.
And you're like, you cannot sell the family home.
I just get so sentimental about things, and like even going out of a hotel room, I'm like,
I'm never gonna see this again.
You're like,
wonder if I
my youngest.
Yeah, Woody's like, we're never coming back here until next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, even getting on the train, I'm like, I wonder if I've sat in this exact seat before. Wow. Is this the last time I'll sit in this seat?
Oh God.
So romantic.
As in, like, I'll sit on a different seat tomorrow, not like
I won't be here. God, who knew you could romanticize a train seat?
Yeah.
And touch it with your hand.
In the north of England, that's impressive.
And have you got a hand gel? Just asking for a friend. Rubbing this train seat.
Yeah.
God.
So yeah, children like Lucy are the problem. Don't be pressured.
Just don't tell them.
You can use the equity for Lucy's therapy.
Yeah. That's what we are.
But like I said, downsizing is such a good thing to explore when it's financially driven, especially. Like, so many people get into like credit and debt and mortgages and stuff.
Laura sat there going, sell the house.
Yeah, but they just do, and it's because they're driven by this emotion. And sometimes I found if you give someone permission to leave, it's a nice thing. Like, let's buy a new place and let's embrace that, and a new adventure. Like, it's still your time. You have so much of your life left to embrace. Don't feel like you're letting everyone down. But at the same time, if you wanted to stay somewhere and you just think it's something you should do, you use the finances that you clearly have to like bolster it. So don't make it too hard for yourself. Don't be sat cleaning a 5-bedroom house and make sure the garden's not. Do the bits of the garden that you like, and then the bits that you don't like, got someone else to do. And then you might like mull it over for a year or two.
Yeah.
And get more and more used to it.
I want to be them right now and go on Rightmove. That's all I want to do.
Oh, yeah. I'd be living on Rightmove.
Yeah, so we'll pick you a few options. If you could send us your postcode and your radius.
Desired areas. I've got a community win. I've done it. Credit card number 1 has been paid off. £3,924 paid since joining Financielle 2 months ago.
Ooh.
I feel amazing. Onwards to the next one, and thank you for giving me the strategy to get this debt shifted once and for all.
That's impressive, isn't it? In 2 months.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's amazing.
One
Big
gone
chunk
already.
of excess. I'm always like, we always say it, if you can do that in 2 months, what are you going to do in a year?
Yeah.
Wait till December. What have you achieved? I would love to know. Keep us updated on that one.
If you'd like to send us your win, head to the community in the app or email it to thevault@financielle.com. Okay, next dilemma. My brother-in-law won't pay us back. Just over a year ago, my husband bailed his brother out of a large amount of gambling debt. Unfortunately, this wasn't really discussed between us, but I've made my peace with that now. So we can't tell them to break up.
That's how it bounds.
As soon as the money was paid, a repayment plan was set. However, it hasn't been adhered to. Only around £250 has been paid back over a year because things like holidays and weekends away have taken priority in his budget. There have been other incidents where he's gambled large sums of money, meaning there are now further debtors to be paid. I have a chronic health condition that is exacerbated by stress, so I really need to resolve or make peace with the situation. Do you have any advice on how to go about getting this money paid back? My brother-in-law has signed a document stating he owes us the sum of money. Can we take legal action? I don't see us being paid back any other way, and we're losing money every day on this sum not compounding any interest.
She doesn't say how much, does she?
There's no number. Only around £250 has been paid back.
And he's still gambling large amounts of money away, borrowing money and then gambling it away. Not from them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez.
So she's kind of saying, does she just make peace with the situation and let go? Or can she take legal action if they have a document that he's signed?
Well, she can, but one will... So I think this is why we don't lend money to family.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really, really privileged thing to say. And if it needs to be done in a safe environment with safe family boundaries and kind of, maybe between parents and children a little bit more than this situation was never going to end well. And so I know you said it was out of bounds, but your husband was absolutely bang out of order.
Not discussing it even.
And you're a saint for kind of saying, I've made peace with that, because I think that's the bigger battle. And I feel for your husband because he's obviously wanted to help his brother out. And lots of people have been forced to make decisions like that, to bail out a family member. And especially if it's gambling or other things, like it's just such a dangerous world actually so people just want people to be safe and feel okay. It's not as bad if it's a credit card company, but if it's gambling debt, it's like, is it people? Is it, so you've already done the hard yards, right? I'm going to put it out there. I don't think you'll ever like your brother-in-law. I think he might have a problem, yes, but I don't think you'll like the decisions he's made and the fact that he's carried on doing that. And the fact that they've tried to carry on living their life when he owes you money and he's not stick to a repayment plan. Not sticking to a repayment plan, but also going out spending is being a bit of a dick.
That's my biggest thing.
It's not that you've got a problem and you've gambled
still
everything.
Going on holidays. I think we had a dilemma way back in the day. I think you remember at the beginning of our pod, and it was a girl that had lent a friend some money, and the girl kept going on holiday and going out for nice dinners. That. There's one thing not paying it back because you can't afford it, or because you've got an addiction, so you continue to do the thing that is your trigger. But still going on holiday and going out for dinner, that's literally rubbing their faces in it. And I would be getting really bloody cross now with that.
And listen, if someone isn't able to get the help they need, that's never going to stop. And so And if he's not got much money, by the way, or he's spending it, then even if you took him to the money court,
you're not going to get it back.
You just and you and everyone else, because if you lodge a claim, there's loads of other people as well.
And it's going to be a long, drawn out process, emotional,
stressful,
and cost you money. And again, I think it's hard to know without it was this 20 grand.
I know, and
or
what's
was
your
this
income?
2 to 3?
Yeah.
But if this isn't, and I hope it wasn't a life-changing sum of money for you, if it was a 2 to 3 grand, which is a lot of money, by the way, but doesn't change your life, I would be tempted to suggest that your husband makes one more attempt to put the payment plan back in place, which is, look, we know you're struggling with this addiction. We helped you out. This is really important. Like, it's important for our relationship that this money gets paid back. So what can we put in place? What, just what can we put in place that finalises it?
You get someone to receive your salary instead of giving it to you. You know, people got
garnish your wages. Well, I just think there's one more chance for me to say, this is really going to damage our relationship. I appreciate you've got other stuff going on, but you borrowed money from us. We bailed you out. As a family. And so for us to have a good relationship going forward, you need to put this in place. And either that works and he fails at it, or he doesn't do that, then you have to, I think, write it off. And mentally, one of the best things you could do for you is write it off. Mm-hmm. And basically, even treat it as a gift. Yeah. Treat it in your head, because this is about how you feel.
You were never going to get it
because he's going to annoy you then. You'll have to work on you, not him. You'll have to work on you for the rest of your life. You will, because every time you see him do anything,
it'll just be like gut wrenching.
It'll be annoying, but time will help. And I think if you see it as you helped a family member out for a period of time, they're struggling. They've got a lot of other issues on. They're not living a fancy life. Like, genuinely, a couple of holidays here and there.
It might look like he's living his best life, going on holiday and stuff, but he's got an addiction at the end of the day.
It's not going to end well unless he fixes himself. It's very difficult. There's loads of really good gambling aware websites and charities you can go to for help. But they're not living the life of, is it
Riley?
I was going to say Larry. Who's Larry?
He's having a great time.
But I hope you understand what I mean when I say you have to look after you, because it's about how you feel is more important. And if you get your chronic illness gets triggered by stress, and you will just fester. And girls can fester. We're good at it, aren't we? Like,
you have to look at what you can control.
Yes.
You can't control him.
And you don't need to eat up the relationship between you and your partner, because you might if that money's still owed, that decision that he made, your partner, in lending the money forever, it's still hanging around. Whereas if you I hope for your sake that it's a sum of money that's bloody annoying rather than life changing. I feel like it's more of the bloody annoying.
I would say so. She doesn't lean into this is holding
distress now. Honestly, like Laura said, one more go, but with it in the back of your mind that it's probably not going to work. But at least you tried everything you can, and honestly write it off if you can. That's very privileged place for us to be able to say.
I don't think your legal route's going to work anyway. I think this is where you're looking at options, and legal route will absolutely tear the family apart, which they've done already, so it's not your fault. You're entitled to that money, but so is everyone else, and you're not going to get it that way. So I think that the only way your money can go to the top of the pile is emotional, not blackmail, but pressure.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, this is family.
It's very rare that lending money to someone works out.
Almost never.
I feel like there's like I know a few people that lend money off family, and they're really good with it. Mm-hmm. And they are spending beyond their means, and that's why they need to borrow money, but they religiously pay it back. But then they always go back for more. And they never learn how to.
It's like a line of credit rather than like sometimes we've seen it in an emergency scenario, or a little bit of a help with the deposit because there's a rent situation. It's getting a bit difficult, and it's
you
like,
need to bridge an emergency gap.
Or you're on a money journey and then life's hit you and you've not quite got that emergency fund, and so there are circumstances where you could do it. But I think this is because this helps show that you can't control life. You don't know what's going to happen. This is why you shouldn't borrow. This is why we say don't do credit cards. This is why we say don't do buy now pay later. Don't get an expensive car loan, because you just don't know, and you could be all in a good state of frame of mind and everything's going fine, and then suddenly life hits you and you can't pay that back. And when it's family, it's next level. And again, the brothers scenario, that Christmas is a difficult Christmas. You just maybe just don't have Christmas together as well. You do separate sittings.
If that was me and Laura, I personally, it would just be so difficult to continue everyday life. You'd be like, oh, you're going out for tea again, and you owe me thousands of pounds. It would just irk you. Whereas
if I'm going to say this way around, let's see what you say. If there was a scenario where we'd lost all our money and we really couldn't sort the car out and we had a roof leak, I think that you would be happy giving me even that money, $2-3 grand, and go, there you go. And it literally, you've forgotten about it.
It's a completely different scenario when it's like that. Hard when someone's got an addiction. It's an illness, and we've talked about that, haven't we, for a few other things.
100%. And this is where, if they're trying to this is where also you shouldn't lend people money, because
it's a gateway. You're giving them the opportunity to continue.
Because it doesn't never ends. Yeah.
I'm so bad. I'd be like, I'll buy you therapy sessions.
Yeah.
Seriously, I would. You'd rather
Yeah, and what
that.
do you need? But it's because it was to settle the debt.
Yeah.
And then because it's the gambling debt, it's like I can win
I'll
it
buy
back.
you a 6-month subscription to therapy to try and get you. And
Or
that's
I'll buy you
gifted.
food.
Fucking have
I'll
it.
buy you
Yeah.
food for 6 months.
Yeah.
But it's because it was needed for the gambling debt. Listen, I'm super impressed with how you made peace with your partner because you have to stick together on this one. You've done well. And, you know, they're trying to help their brother. Like, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Family.
Any final words?
I don't want to, I think, again, really brave to write that. And I don't want to finish on too much of a low. And there's lots of scenarios. Like Holly and I are also speaking from quite a privileged position by saying, you shouldn't borrow money from family. Lots of people do, but these are the ways it can go wrong. But if there's one thing you can take away from this, for me, it's fixing you, not them. So the ability to flip that into a gift.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even
Change
tell you,
the
even though morally you're like,
Yeah,
fuck
yeah.
no, that was like a loan and you are spending all this. No, imagine how, I'm thinking about how you will feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like short,
Freeing.
I
walking
think go
taller.
to a rage room.
Is that where you smash things?
Yeah,
That's-
you just go in. You,
That's just my
like
bedroom.
old computers.
When I'm in a mood.
Punching pillows.
But whatever it is for you, like thinking about you can change how you react to this situation,
Yes.
even if it's not morally right. We've got this like balance between what's right and what you can control. And I just think you'll be the better person for doing
Definitely.
We're big on making yourself feel better.
Yeah.
Like what can you do to make yourself feel better? And I genuinely think
it. Sometimes it's shortbread and sometimes it's mindset.
rage rooms,
Shortbread? Rage rooms.
both.
Maybe it's shortbread after the rage room.
Maybe
or
you're
the cup of
sitting in a
tea.
rage room with a visor on, eating a shortbread on the bed after axing the mattress.
Just literally never seen these. I need to do
I think
one.
I definitely need to book one now.
Yeah, I think it would be a good activity. I would
Blog
like
that.
Okay, that's all for this episode. The Vault is now closed. And just a quick disclaimer, The Vault is just a chat around life and money topics. We are not giving financial advice.